Hello, everybody. It's Monday and it's August 3rd. And I want to continue in the King James Version, Matthew 24. And we finished off with part 1. This is part 2. And I'm going to begin on verse number 15. Okay, so let me begin here. Verse number 15 says, "When ye therefore see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judah flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of the house. Neither let him which is in the field return to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be a great tribulation, such as was not since and beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be." So I'm going to stop right here. And he's talking about the abomination of desolation. And that was spoken by the prophet Daniel. And there's two things that this could be referred to. In Jerusalem, they had the Holy Temple, and inside the temple was the Holy of Holies. And inside there was the showbread and the staff of Aaron, the high priest, when Moses, his brother-in-law. And there was a mercy seat. And Jesus Christ was in the temple. That was the Holy of Holies. And he would sit on the mercy seat. In Moses' time, Moses would go in and speak with him. And then the high priests of the Levi tribes, they were the only ones who could go into the Holy of Holies once a year. So when he talks about the desolation, where is it here? The abomination of desolation, he could be talking about the Roman government, and it was an image of Antiochus. And in 168 BC, what they did was they took this big statue of this Roman governor, and they put it smack dab in the center of the Holy of Holies. Now, that was total desolation to the Holy Temple. So that's one meaning of it. And then the second meaning of it, it says in Luke 21:20, "When ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies." And so what it's talking about is the Roman army was encamped around the city of Jerusalem, and the abomination which made it desolated. And they're talking about the destroying of the temple of Jerusalem, which was devastating. And I talked about that before. Now you have to understand, the reason why Jesus was destroying the temple of Jerusalem was because he was breaking his covenant with the Jewish people because they did not believe in him. So what they did is they killed the Son of God. That was a mighty terrible thing. And so it warranted the desolation of the temple of Jerusalem. So there is no earthly temple anymore that's going to be opened up in the city, in the country of Israel. It's done. It's over with. When Christ came, died, and was buried and rose again and sits at the right hand of the Father, there's a new covenant, and it's a spiritual covenant. And it's a covenant between Christ and the believers. Believers being Gentiles and Jews alike who believe on Jesus Christ. So in this, he's talking about the destruction of Jerusalem. And when he talks about that, he was also talking about, down here in my study Bible, it says, not the mountains around about of Jerusalem, where some of them were fleeing to, the Jews, but those in the remote corners of the land. When the Christians in Jerusalem and Judea saw the ruin coming, they escaped to a town called Pella on the other side of the Jordan River, where they were safe. The warning was not kept private. Matthew's gospel published it long before the destruction, so others might have taken advantage of it, but their perishing through their unbelief was a figure of their eternal perishing. So in the Gospel of Matthew, he told about a city for the Jews who believed in Jesus Christ to flee. But many of them did not flee. Most of them did not flee. They stayed in Jerusalem, and they were totally destroyed because they didn't want to believe in Jesus Christ. And in verse number 17, he talks about the housetops. He says, you know, when this destruction comes, he says, don't stop. Don't stop to get any clothes. Don't stop to put away anything. He says, just leave. He says, and pray that, you know, if it's not winter because it's cold and the roads were icy. And if mothers had babies, it was going to be very hard to make the long, hard journey in the cold with their babies. And also, if it was on the Sabbath day, or forget it, because you weren't supposed to travel on the Sabbath, so they'll catch you right away. So he was telling them to beware of all these times. Verse number 21 says, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And that was the destruction of Jerusalem. That was the, I can't think of the word now, but the betrayal of his people, of the children of God, the Jews. They betrayed Christ. They killed him. That was terrible. Verse number 22, and except those days shall be shortened, there shall be no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Then if any man shall say unto you, lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. And so there were many, many, many false prophets in Jerusalem that were trying to get people astray. And also in the end times that we're in right now, there will be many false prophets. Verse number 25, behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they say to you, behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as the light cometh out of the east and shineth unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For whoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered. Now he's talking about the second coming of Jesus Christ. He came one time when he walked on the earth, and he died, was buried, and rose again to save us from our sin. He went into heaven, he ascended on a cloud, and he went into heaven, and he sits at the right hand of the Father, ever interceding for us. Well, there'll be a second coming. And the second coming is the final day when the Lord Jesus appears. And before that time, there will be great tribulation on the earth. And there will be a lot of false prophets. And there will be many miracles being done. Because Satan, has a lot of power. And you know what? He knows the Bible better than most people. Okay? He doesn't come in as a beast. He can come in as a beautiful or handsome man or woman. I said that before. He comes in sneakily. He comes in through the New Age movement. He comes in through the Christian Zionist movement. He comes in from the false rapture. He comes in so many ways into the churches in America that the doctrine has been watered down and the churches aren't speaking up. And this is what's happening, and that's what's going to happen in the end times. So when Jesus Christ, he's saying here, to behold, because you're not going to know when he's going to come. He's going to come. He says, for as the light cometh out of the east and shineth unto the west, so shall the coming of the Son of God be. For wherever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. So he will be king above all the evil governments of the world. That's where he's going to show his face to them. Okay? And they're going to know it. They're going to know it. And they're going to say, oh my God, that's God. Look at how many things I did against him and against his children. But you know what? On the final day, it'll be too late to change your mind. So, let me go to verse number 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days. So he says, immediately after the tribulation of those days, shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from earth, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Now this pertained to the destruction of Jerusalem also, but it also has to do with the second coming of Jesus Christ. Things are going to change. The earth is going to have a shift. The moon is going to darken. And the sun is not going to give its light. And everyone is going to take notice. And the heavens are going to be shaken. Even the stars are going to fall from the sky. Let me read that again. Verse number 29. Immediately after tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from the heavens, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. So he's saying a lot of things about the last day. Notice, there's no secret rapture where people are going to go up in heaven and no one's going to know. Oh no, there's no secret rapture. Everybody's going to be here through the tribulation if we're still alive. And then we're going to see when the sun darkens and the moon darkens and the stars fall from the sky, you're going to see the Son of Man appearing in the clouds. When he died and rose again, he went up into the clouds. When he comes back, he's going to come in the clouds for every single eye of every animal, every single eye of every human being is going to be looking up into heaven, and they're going to see the Son of God. And all the tribes on the earth are going to mourn. And why are they going to mourn? Just what I said before. They're going to say, oh no, Jesus Christ has come back. The one that I crucified, the one that I don't believe in, he's come back on the judgment day. Okay? He's going to come in great glory and great power with his angels. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of the trumpet. And it'll be loud. It's going to be loud. It's not going to be secretive. It's going to be so loud that every single person, animal in the world is going to know. And he's going to gather together his elect from the four winds and from the end of heaven to the other. He's going to raise them from the grave. He's going to take the people that are in heaven already. He's going to raise everybody from the beginning of time from the graves. He's going to get the people from heaven and they're going to be with him. So all those people from all the Bible who persecuted the Christians are going to be there. Everybody that ever was is going to be there on the last day. And they're going to gather them up and no one's going to miss it. Nobody's going to be too far away. Not for the power of God Almighty. Verse number 32, now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, you know the summer is nigh. So likewise, ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. Now, when he talks about the generation shall not pass, he's talking about the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD. Okay? He's also talking about the generation on the earth, because remember, to God, 1,000 years is like a day to God. His timetable is way different than ours. But he says in verse number 35a, heaven and earth shall pass away. This heaven and this earth shall pass away. There's no 1,000-year millennium where people are going to live on the earth here and all of that bunk. No. But his word will not pass away. And I'm going to stop here on verse number 35. And we'll continue with part 3 the next time. Thank you so much for listening. God bless you and keep you always.